So here I am. Only got 3 hours of sleep because of this gang stalking shit, but you know what? I came across this important article here. This is really, really interesting, and I have came across a revelation here. So I don't know. This article, I guess, is a year old. The Iranian news agency says the U.S. is secretly run by Nazi space aliens. Really? I think there's a lot of truth into this, really. So I want to get to the important part of this article. So on Sunday, the hardline semi-official Fars News dropped one of its biggest bombshells yet. The United States government has been secretly run by a shadow government of space aliens since 1945. Yes, space aliens. The alien government is based out of Nevada and had previously run in Nazi Germany. I think this is 100% true. It adds for timelines that the controversial NSA programs are actually a tool for the aliens to hide their presence on Earth and their secret agenda for global domination. This is all asserted as controvertible fact with no caveats. There's so many wonderful details here. It's proof that aliens are secretly behind the Nazis. The report explains that Germany built hundreds of submarines toward the end of the war, far more than would have been possible with mere human technology. It does not explain why aliens with access to interstellar travel built subs that were so grossly incapable, blah, blah. And I'm not really going to get into too much of all this stuff, but this says a lot to me, you know, and I have a big revelation here now of kind of this information here, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, so I did hear about that, about, you know, Hitler fleeing. I heard about this real thing they used to have where these women, they'd grow hair and they'd get in contact. So I think Hitler was really into a lot of alien stuff, I guess. So I then came across this other article, Snowden documents, Nazi aliens rule United States. So this is kind of, I guess, they're talking a little bit about what Iran was saying a bit. And I'm going to see a little bit more about this article, but so the tall whites were also behind the stunning rise of Nazis in Germany prior to World War II. So I want to show you guys the other important stuff I found. So I'm not going to, you know, look to this article is kind of long, so I'm not going to look too into it, but I want to talk more about these tall white aliens is what I want to talk about. But first, let me go to this article, another article by Iran, where Iran is saying that Iran accuses the West of using lizards for nuclear spying. And pretty much in this article, he's saying that basically these U.S. soldiers had brought some lizards that they used to spy that could pick up the waves and something of uranium mines they have. So they're saying that they're in a variety of reptile desert species like lizards, chameleons. We found out that their skin attracts atomic waves and that they were nuclear spies who wanted to find out where inside the Islamic Republic of Iran we have uranium mines and where we engage in atomic activities. I do believe that there is a part of this that is true. Now, I have had an experience back in my backyard, back home in California. This yellow belly lizard, this little lizard was hanging out in the backyard all the time, and it was weird. It would appear, right? So one day it appeared, and I was sitting underneath, you know, a telephone wire or whatever, and the next thing I know, I start to hear static, and then boom, I'm like basically, you know, being electrocuted. The type of gang stalking type of technology, type of sick shockwave weapons. But the thing is that these lizards, they use lizards, they also use insects as well. So there is a lot of truth in this article. There is. It may sound like it's crazy, but there is a lot of truth in this article. A lot of truth. Okay, so now I want to talk about these tall white aliens. Let's talk about these tall white aliens. So there's a little bit on them. So the name tall white aliens has been attributed to these creatures as they resemble a gray alien, only much taller than a common gray alien. The tall white aliens have used possible genetic manipulations to drive at their current appearance. So I'm going to say that this most likely is what a tall gray is what I'm thinking, because there are tall grays. So I'm thinking this is just the same thing as what a tall gray kind of is. So tall white aliens are said to be between 6 and 7 feet tall, with even taller ones up to 7.5 feet. Their tall, slender bodies have a pale chalk and white color. These extraterrestrials are said to thrive in arid, dry atmospheres. Tall whites have very large eyes that are blue at childhood but turn pink as the alien age. While tall whites are said to be physically weak from numerous genetic manipulations to their genus, their lanky legs can propel them faster than a human runner. So they can run fast. They can run really fast. So now let's go back to, let's see. Let me get on here. Now let's talk a little bit more about this. So first I'm going to go to the Orion Project, where I went to Agenda, and there is a whole list of the type kind of agenda that these aliens have. Now I'm going under Jews. So basically, she kind of in this article talks about, you know, Hitler and the Nazis. So she says about how early on in her draconian connections, the Draconians spoke loudly about Hitler and Himmler and Nazi Germany. They even asked me if I read Hitler's manifesto book Mein Kampf, and that I was filled with many good ideas and this and that. So I guess the Draconians really like are into Hitler and stuff like that, or something like that. So I'm looking more at this article, and it says Draconians have a big thing for racial and caste systems and regard themselves as a proud race of Draconian reptiles and wish to regard all other races as inferior to them. They even instill this racistic system into their occupied Zeta Greys, who then pass it on to the Zeta human hybrids, who all then call us humans as dogs and sheep and as the inferior race. So if Draconians were come to Earth, they would absolutely play the racism card as well. But learning about Hitler and Nazi Germany and the Holocaust, I always had one question: why target the Jews and call it racial propaganda? While the Jews had their own culture in Germany and their own religion, they are Caucasian people, and they don't look all that different from other Caucasian Europeans. Doesn't make sense. What on earth would the Germans have seen in the Jews to consider these people so inferior and unworthy? So basically, she kind of backs up and talks about the blue people, and she talks about basically like a lot of history of some ET races and stuff like that. So it says many ET races have visited the Earth and meddled with us humans. Yes, that is very true. This has a lot of stuff about the Jewish race and how Vega star system, an old race of ETs. It said that they are said to look very human and to be human ancestors who seeded the Earth. So it talks about Jewish people being of the Vega people, that the Vega star seed created it. So yeah, if you guys check out on my Orion Mind Project, yeah, check this out sometime. There's a lot of information here that is hard to find nowadays, that is pretty censored. So now let's go ahead and let's go back to my video here. And let's talk a sec. Now, this is my #1 Gangstalker here. This is exactly who has been doing all the crimes against me. This is who has implanted me illegally. This is who's done all the testing on me. This is who has tortured me. Yep, this is exactly who has tortured me. And this is a tall gray. This is the tall white. This is exactly what they are talking about. And looking at this article from Iran, this is a real revelation for me. So this guy is about 6'4". He's big, and he has been stalking me for many years and coming in different forms. He has beaten me. He's tortured me. He has done all this. He has done everything. And it's hard because here he is. He's in this form. So it's like every time he's kind of has a little bit of a difference in his appearance, his form, because he's non-human. So it's like basically there's no way to get these people in trouble because they keep on changing form and doing these discrete changes. So this here is exactly what this article is talking about. Exactly what these people did come in 1945. They started. They've been controlling everything. This is exactly what this article is spoken about. This is right here, right in front of you, and this is exactly who has been doing all of this crime towards me. So now I'm gonna go back to where this all started. So at 17 years old, I stupidly, I was 17 years old, and I ended up being on MySpace. I wanted to date. I was large at the time. I was obese because all the abuse from my mother. So I had a really bad time in my life, whatever. So I thought, oh, wow, met this guy in MySpace, on a little, like, he had a dating ad, and I thought, oh my God, that's great. So I dated him, and, we dated, and, it was like I was 17, he was like 22 at the time, and he, rode a bike and had this, like, jacket. I thought, oh wow, that's so cool. I was only 17 years old. I didn't know any better, but, so he ended up being, emotionally abusive and very distant to me, and very, like, emotionally and even verbally abusive. And, he was a serial narcissist, a serial cheater type of person. I guess, like, when he had gotten with me, he was just like leaving a relationship or something. And, basically what he would do is get in these relationships and then leave the woman or whatever and go to another. And he got married like a few times and would just leave for another woman. This is a narcissist. So when we had dated, I was 17 years old. He had actually told me that he had slept with another man. He, like, told that to me, like, kind of casually. He's like, hey, yeah, I've been with another man. And, I was only 17. I was like, oh, I don't really care. I mean, I guess he's been with another man, but I didn't know about narcissists then. I didn't know about, all this kind of stuff. I was only 17 years old. I didn't know any better. But I didn't know that, oh my God, once I date this guy, this is going to change my whole life. I'm going to be gang-stalked and put in this program forever. So he ended up, like, we were dating, and he's like, oh, I'm going to join the military. I'm going to get in the military, right? So he gets in the military, and we date while I was in the military, and I kind of didn't even want to deal with it anymore, because, like, I don't want a long distance relationship. That's never what I wanted. So, I stayed with him, whatever. And then, we dated and met a few times, and then he ended up, like, leaving me for some other woman. I was like, oh, whatever, I don't care. It was just like, wow. Then I ended up, like, cussing him out. He had some, like, weird page used, and this guy is extremely mentally ill and extremely dangerous, and he's a big Raiders fan, whatever. And so he worked on the Oceanside. I met him on his Oceanside military base, and and that was the last time we met, because it just was horrible. I mean, he was so mentally unstable, and you could definitely see it in all this. So here's this page where he talks about he's a strong warrior and servant of God and all this kind of stuff. And he's saying, I'm not just a warrior of Christ, but I'm also proud of my country and this and that. I'm a United States Marine. And he is this is like basically the same profile that he had years ago on, like, MySpace, but even worse. Like, he always says this Semper Fi, oorah. And he was even talking about, like, being on Adderall and drugs. So it's like, I was only 17 years old. I didn't even know any better. So pretty much he's, like, really big into this Marine Corps and all this kind of stuff. And it's just really like, wow, and then I had to realize, what, this guy has been the one who put me on this program, who's been involved in all this. I had to realize all that. And so this guy is 6'6", and yeah, he's 6'6". He's that tall. He's really big. And so I noticed that every time I come across a tall, bald guy, that same height, I know that it's the same person. I could see the little visible differences. I could see the visible differences. So this is a little bit of the story a little bit of my story of what happened, how I ended up dealing with some freaking loser, I guess, and this all happening, all this shit. So yeah, this is what it is. And realizing now, looking at this article and realizing, wow, and this guy is a Nazi as well. He is a Nazi. It's funny because he rode a bike. I rode on his back a bike. His helmet had a, like, Confederate flag, all this kind of shit. And his last name's Lessig, so he's German. He's got German descent, all that kind of stuff. So I do believe that these people are tied to Nazis. I think they are Nazis. I think they are putting people on this gang stalking program, and they really are Nazis. They really are. And I'm going to talk to you guys about another thing before I'm so glad I just actually remembered this. So damn, I wish I kind of got a picture here, but on the ship, when I was abducted and I had my skin ripped off my knee in this abduction, right? So my skin was ripped off my knee by this woman. First, she measured my feet. So this woman had blonde hair. She had these blue eyes. She was German. She was clearly German. And I remember like screaming, being in a lot of pain and crying. I remember she was like, you know, oh, you should not cry so much, like something like that. Like just something she said with kind of like an attitude. Like these people had a really dark and evil, sinister energy. But I could see that a lot of them were Nazis and a lot of them were German descent. And then I noticed in California, a lot of the people who were gang stalking me were German that were coming. Some of the people were German. It was a lot of just illegal people, like a lot of people from all these different kind of countries and stuff like that. But I did notice these one day in line at the grocery store, these German people had gotten behind me, and I could tell that they were involved in this gang stalking. And definitely, they were dropped off outside in front of the store in a car or whatever. And this was a black neighborhood, so it's kind of like weird, but it was kind of like Ladera, so that was like a black and white neighborhood. So that was it clearly was gang stalking. I could see it, and I think they did something. I can't remember what they did or said, but they were showing that they were gang stalking. So this article and all this stuff is really giving me an eye opener here on this stuff. And I do believe it's true. And I do believe that with the Hitler and him escaping, getting a submarine, going on Antarctica, I believe all that shit. And I do believe this, that these were Nazis that previously worked in Nazi Germany. I totally believe that in that article. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, share you guys a little bit of my story, who is the one that's mainly behind all my gang stalking, and let you guys know. Yeah, and it's crazy because he even changed his form. You know, I was even at a bar in Salida, and this motherfucker shows up. He now he likes to make him. He even can make himself short because these bitches get into these deep underground military bases. They can change their form, so he changes himself in this short form. I go to this bar. I think it's fucking what was it called? Dang, I don't remember what the bar is called, but it's this little beer bar, little beer place. Over there, and so he's sitting next to me, and then he like shows me this Oceanside jacket. And it's like, bitch, I know who the fuck you are. Don't think I'm fucking stupid, you know? So this bitch has been changing forms and committing all these fucking crimes. But the thing is, only I can catch it. Only I can catch it. I'm sure you guys, if you guys are dealing with these reptilian and fucking alien non-human shapeshifters, I'm sure you guys catch it too. It's crazy, you know? All right, guys. Well, let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys all have a good day.